So eventually, Adam was also brought into the mixture. He went with the wave, and we understand that's why we are here today. Most of the time, we are not just we are born separated from God because they took of that fruit. They took of that fruit of that tree. Life separated from God. That you can be wise without God. We are going to see that that was a delusion. Self-wisdom is delusion. Okay, I'll move on to the next verse. Now, that is, we just went back to Eden to see where did this issue with our self-wisdom, where did this issue begin with? Concerning humanity, it began in Eden. That's when we began the journey of walking in our own wisdom. But this issue about God's creation or the created beings walking in their own wisdom did not begin in Eden. It is something that began way before humanity, way before humanity was created. So I'm just going to read in Ezekiel chapter 28, here where we see Satan being under the name, that figure of the king of Tyrus. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 11. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord God, thou sealest up the psalm, full of wisdom. So we see even Lucifer himself was full of wisdom, perfect in beauty. He was perfect in beauty, full of wisdom. But you know, something happened. Thou was perfect in thy ways from the day that thou was created. It is the same thing that was with Adam and Eve. They were perfect in wisdom, full of wisdom. They were perfect in all the way, in the way they were created. Until something happened. The same thing that happened to Lucifer, it is the same thing that happened to humanity after we were led by Lucifer to go on the same path that he chose. So we read here, thou was perfect in thy ways from the day that thou was created, till iniquity was found in thee. Verse 17, thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom. So this guy had wisdom, but when he did something, then the wisdom was corrupted by the reason of thy brightness. So all of a sudden, this guy thinks that he is okay. He can do everything by himself. That's Lucifer. And by that, he corrupted his wisdom. We can, I believe for us in this time, we have learned a lot. We have seen what happened to Lucifer. We have seen what has been happening to the ages past, that is humanity, beginning with the children of Israel and even the disciples and all this. I believe for this generation, we have come to that understanding that we can never be wise by ourselves. We can never be good by ourselves. And we need to always abide in the Lord. If any pride comes to us, then we will go back and fall to the same issue or to the same fate that Lucifer underwent. We see here, thine heart was lifted up, pride. He thought that he could do it. He could live by himself without God. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy spirit. I believe somewhere else also Christ says, happy are they poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom. Something like that. So the moment Satan's heart was lifted up because of thy beauty, because he thought he's okay, he's perfect and all that, he deluded himself. That is the moment the wisdom was corrupted by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before the kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities. It is the same thing that happened in Eden, brothers and sisters. In Eden, Adam and Eve, once they chose a life without God, separation from God, that they could become wise without God. That is the moment they also defiled their sanctuaries. So we read, thou hast defiled their sanctuary. So the first being to defile his own sanctuary was Lucifer in heaven, an angel. I believe he was inhabited by God's Spirit, and the moment he chose to live independent of God's Spirit, he defiled his own sanctuary. And to them that he led into defiling their own sanctuaries in heaven, the fallen angels. And finally, he succeeded also to make us, humanity, in Adam and Eve, to defile our own sanctuary. And that's why we are born with a life that is separated from God, out of inheritance, of course. We inherit life that is separated from God, a sanctuary that is defiled. That is what we inherit as humanity. Defiled sanctuary. So until we welcome the Spirit back. So we read, therefore I'll bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all men that behold thee. So we are going to understand, brothers and sisters, we are going to understand that all this self-wisdom that began in heaven with Lucifer and sold to the other angels who accepted, we understand in Revelation chapter 12, verse 1 to 3, somewhere there, we understand that a third of the angels fell of this lie. They fell of this lie. And they also defiled their sanctuaries, just like Lucifer in heaven. And the same lie was brought to us, and we did the same. Now, but eventually we are going to understand. God is saying, I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. We are going to understand that all these things that was sold to us as self-wisdom, that we can be wise without God, all these things is going to be viewed as nonsensical, something that is self-delusional. Self-wisdom is self-delusional. I can say that. I think I'll just move on to the next verse. So the next, thank you so much. So self-wisdom is self-delusional. It was brought by the enemy. Now, I just wanted to say that the same thing happened to humanity. I think I just mentioned that. The same thing happened to humanity. We were led by Satan into defiling our sanctuaries in search of self-wisdom. And as I said, I don't know whether that word is an English word, a true English word. English is my second language, but I hope the message is, you're getting what I'm trying to say. Now, the two kinds of wisdom, that is God's wisdom in us, that is, if God is living in you, you are wise by all means, because the one who is you is the wisest, the most wise, I can say. So we are partakers of wisdom. Let me just put it that way. We are partakers of God's wisdom. So we are only wise if God is in us. That is one kind of wisdom. And the other one that was brought to us in Eden, that you can be wise without God. Separated from God, we read that in Genesis chapter 3, verse 4 to 6. Separated from God, you can't be wise. So these two kinds of wisdom are under display in this great cosmic war. And just to continue, before I continue, I believe